peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
Thank you so much for joining us. This is Africa Showdown, where we get to look at what is, the conversations across different countries in Africa. I trust you have had a wonderful Sunday. Thank you so much for joining us. It's just a few minutes past 3 p.m. here in Nairobi, East Africa. My name is Miriam Mugutu, and I'll take us right to the command center where Dr. Matsanga shall be leading us on today's show.
Thank you very much, Miriam Ogutu, and the rest of you in the world, wherever you were, in listening to us, listening to Punchline Africa, watching Punchline Africa television. This is the political command center of Punchline Africa television from London, the capital city of the United Kingdom. First meeting through Berlin. Our satellite has picked us, and we are on. We shall be bringing you 2 hours of heard of material. You have never heard about these things. We do analysis which is very different from any other station. We are not quacks. We are real intellectuals on this platform. So when you come in to contribute, remember to have your facts. Challenge us with facts. Don't insult us. We don't want insults, and neither shall we block you, but we shall continue to educate you. Mr. Juma Smith, we want your real name. We don't have Juma and Arab and Smith included. So, but I'm marking you, and I've followed you through my networks of Anonymous. I found out who you are. So if you continue with anything else, we shall educate you in a very good way and a somber mood. Thank you. Thank you very much. Miriam, thank you for giving me this opportunity to introduce none other than Radio Punchline Africa television in the left corner, right corner. Those watching your television right now, Radio Punchline Africa, headed by Daniel Wesonga and Mpamba Wabambe is not there. That is 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365 days in a year. The best music in Africa, the best rumba, the best Dubai, Lucky Dubai. Go there and get the music. Nigerians, get the music there. Don't panic with batteries. Just have your data. Enjoy the best rumba music from Democratic Republic of Congo. The best rumba music of Bob Wine. Chalimpa from Uganda. That music, when it plays, everybody, the intestines of Museveni start shaking. Just get it and play it, man. Across the bridge, Media's favorite. Thank you very much, Daniel Wesonga. Good afternoon.
Yes, a very, very good afternoon, Dr. Matsanga David at our Political Command Center, and I'm coming to you live from Radio Punchline Africa here at our headquarters in Nairobi. And of course, to our viewers, let them tune in the best of Africa. Wonderful show this afternoon. They can tune in and be able to listen.
Thank you very much. When I give you time to introduce, make it short. Thank you very much, Javan Karanja from Nanyuki, where the train has just left. The train arrived, brought passengers from Nairobi. The situation in Kenya is changing. Somebody wants to steal President Uhuru Kenyatta's legacy. Someone wants to destroy the legacy of President Uhuru Kenyatta. What do you say from Nanyuki in the heart of Kenya, the feeding fields of Kenya, where you grow crops and bring us more tomatoes, sweet potatoes, what else is grown in Nanyuki?
Onion, cucumbers, everything. Thank you very much, Dr. Masanga. Good afternoon to our viewers. A good afternoon to our studio, and a good afternoon to everyone who is watching us across the world. And indeed, as you have said, Doctor, the train left this 10 a.m. this morning to Nairobi. Therefore, we celebrate the development agenda of President Uhuru Kenyatta, and there's a reality here in the ground. And anybody who wants to tarnish and to water the legacy of President Uhuru Kenyatta, we will not sit plenty and watch them destroy the legacy of President Uhuru Kenyatta. Thank you for having me on the show. We'll keep on discussing this and more other stories that are making headline across the country and to the world at large. Thank you.
Indeed, hot stories coming. Miriam is going to line them up for us. Very hot. And we don't speak with any fear, intimidation. You touch Uhuru Kenyatta, we touch you. You rattle him, we rattle you. I'm sorry. That's what we are going to do up to 2022. If we are still alive, hallelujah. And God is going to keep us. You touch him, we touch you. You insult him, he's not the type who insults. We shall insult him not on his behalf, but from the analysis we know. And we are going to do it. Mr. Deputy President Ruto, you are running away from the truth. You a thief, you stole. And accept. Go and repent, deliver the goods back. Kenyans need medicine, yala. Walai. They need medicine, bwana. Wewe unakuwa na helicopter 9. Wewe unasema huko hustler. Helicopter 9. Watu wanakufa na AIDS. Wengine wanakufa na hakuna dawa. Ulipata wapi hiyo jamani? Pesa uliiba wapi? Yes. If your father was not as rich, where did you get the money? Let's change the narrative. Let's now change this hustler. Okay. Hiyo ndio maswali tutauliza. Unasema wale iko dynasty, lakini wewe hata biato ilikushinda kununua. Sasa walai ya Mungu, ulipata wapi pesa hizi? Jamani. Douglas Budi Kirimi. Just from Nyeri, from Meru, you represent that great mountain, the city of Meru. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Dr. David Matsanga from the Political Command Center in London. Good afternoon to my friend Sean Wesonga at the Radio Punchline Africa, where we punch ignorance and also deliver political analysis from Monday to Thursday every evening. Kindly tune in, everyone across the world. And also good afternoon to Miriam Ogutu and at our crew back at our headquarters in Nairobi. And good afternoon to my friend Jevan Karanja and Wakiri Kidimwaga. Thank you, and also thank you for having me on the show.
Thank you very much. That is the gentleman from Meru. He doesn't take any prisoners. Thank you very much, Kidimwaga, the lawyer. What? Thank you very much, our lawyer, an advocate of the High Court, somewhere in the CPD of Nairobi. We are feeling cold up here, no sunshine. Wherever I am in the studio, you can see no sunshine outside. It's very cold. Thank you very much. And we want to know what you think. Someone is saying Baba is saying handshake problem. Where is it? Who can shake the hand when we just brought this? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. I am not joining from Nairobi today. Yes. I am joining from Lower Eastern. And I send you a lot of greetings and love from Lower Eastern.
It looks like Machakos.
Further than Machakos. I said good morning and good afternoon to
Are you in Wote?
In Wote, yes.
I can see. There is no part of Kenya. That hotel behind there. I have ever gone there. I had a presenter called Mackenzie Ndunge.
Yes.
Yes. I went there. We were passing by.
Yes.
On journalistic work. Don't ask too many questions. But
I will not.
That hotel behind there is in Wote. Thank you very much. And you will bring us news from Lower Eastern. And we be prepared to bring us news. Tell us more. Yes, go ahead.
I want to say very briefly
Yes.
that in the words of Edmund Burke, that the only necessary thing for evil to thrive is for good men to do nothing. And we want to thank you here on the show for making sure that you've created a platform for which good men can then invest their energies, intellect, and time to ensure that we stop this misinformation and disinformation peddled by people who are opposed to the president. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And we are not relenting, neither shall we give up. I now hand you over back to the studios in Nairobi, Kenya. My role is here. I'm ready to debate. Give us the topics.
All right, thank you so much, Doctor, for that. So welcome our viewers wherever you're watching us from. And we'll start with Kenya, where the winds shaking the BBI. That is the question we shall be seeking to interrogate today. Are there winds shaking the BBI? Then after that, we shall move to Uganda. Does Uganda need a wider dialogue? And then after that, we go to Zimbabwe. The war of words between Zimbabwe and South Africa. South Africa closed a border that is very important. That serves a larger population from Zimbabwe coming into South Africa. So South Africa waited until Zimbabweans went for Christmas, and then coming back, they were not able to go back to their workplaces for those who are working in South Africa. So that has created a crisis there on the border. And on Ethiopia, that will be our fourth topic. The silence on the war in Tigray continues there. What is really going on there in Ethiopia? New reports from the United Nations is quite worrying. And also we'll end with this Central African Republic, who is behind the conflict. And we know that Central African Republic went to its elections towards end of last year. And there has been a conflict since then, since Bozize was refused to run in that election. So what is really happening in Central African Republic? And then we shall end with our sixth topic about the US. Why are some African countries targeted by the new administration? So we do have a lot in stock for you. So Doctor, we start with our first topic there, which is their winds shaking the BBI. And Doctor, please give us the introduction.
Thank you very much. Most of us, for the last 10 years, since I came to Kenya, since I intervened in the ICC case, you can see the way I'm speaking. I speak with confidence. Because I never betrayed anybody. Because I never fixed anyone. I came in as a savior. I came in and stood firm. Kenyans were scared of a small lumpen called Ocampo, a thief, a gambler, a money changer who mortgaged ICC. He came in here, welcomed by Mutula Kilonzo, Waki, and the rest of lumpens that have now lumped themselves in the UDA under the auspices of Mudama, and Mr. Ruto has welcomed them. He came here and met Mr. Omar, Hassan Omar, as the deputy chairman of the Kenyan National Human Rights Organization, supported by the government, who wrote reports, 2 reports, against Ruto and Ocampo 6. He came here and met so many people. People feared to talk about them. I stood firm. That's why I'm speaking with confidence. If there is any Kenyan who says I did not do it, let him point a finger at me, but let him cast the first stone if he has ever tried to do it. I'm changing it today. I came here. I came in Nairobi. I went to Kenya. I stood firm with these brothers of mine. I am not ashamed, and I will not hesitate to say the truth. And I will say it without reservations. Deputy President William Ruto has destroyed the legacy of President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. He's responsible. When you talk about the BBI having the wind, yes, there is something that people should know. If there is one man, call me a foreigner, call me any name, call me a hippo, hippopotamus, elephant. You have named me so many names. Oh, this fat man with a stomach. No problem. No problem. Hakuna problem. Hakuna fit. Hakuna. I don't want to speak German, which I know. Italian, which I know. Maybe I'm not German. I have no problem. But I want to tell you, but if there is a man who has always been with Kenya, is me. I've stood firm and said Kenya must have a redemption strategy. And it is good that Raila Odinga, Uhuru Kenyatta, they heard about this redemption. What is the redemption strategy? And I want these leaders to hear me. I want to explain again. A redemption strategy is reconciliation, restitution, reparation, accountability. This goes slowly. Truth telling. This goes slowly. It ends up in a very good word. And that word is called healing. I'm teaching today. In fact, starting from tomorrow, Miriam, the first hour will be teaching of the 11 o'clock news. It will be teaching only. I want to teach because it looks like people are slacking the back. Every 5 years, Kenya had violence. Every 5 years, Kenya was killing, blood was flowing. We needed a reconciliation. President Uhuru Kenyatta, Raila Amolo Odinga, being elders of this country, being leaders that had contested in these elections, they decided to do a reconciliation. There is nothing wrong with that. But there is something very wrong with the person opposing the BBI today, the handshake. I heard this guy say that it is the handshake, is Raila who came to destroy Jubilee. Medium, that's why I'm very, very upset. Mm-hmm. This guy, a guy who meets Chinese in Intercontinental Hotel. You know, the whole Intercontinental Hotel from 2013 was full of Chinese. With a man called Koistane, Caleb Koistane, he's PA. What can he do? What? Let me tell you the truth now. They heap themselves there with Murkomen. Murkomen, Kindiki, they had a skyrocketing team of helicopters. It's called skyrocket. Go and collect 10%, 10 from commission, kick back. This is the man now, he doesn't know this money. It is Uhuru who was eating. Wacha tuambiane ukweli. Nitoboe au sitoboe? Miriam, you tell me, should I say it or not?
Go ahead.
I'm giving facts, background.
Mm-hmm.
Why the handshake and the BBI is having a wind is blowing. The gentleman has now reached somewhere after collecting enough money. You know Annas and Caiaphas, the high priest. They say Jesus is, hey, this guy gave us food at the port of Capernaum. He's very good. We ate some of the loaves. Then, as soon as Jesus was cooked, Annas and Caiaphas said, I think that food had poison. Who gave him the power to get us food? You remember the high priest? The high priest, he go up. After collecting all these monies, Chinese could collect themselves in Intercontinental. I have a very many videos. You know, people wonder why I was always in Intercontinental Hotel. It's true. I am an investigative journalist. If you ask these Chinese, where are they going? If you ask Kosteni, Caleb, who claims to be the Deputy Secretary General of Jubilee, where are they going? We are going across the bridge. Annex. Hey? And I am told, you see, at night, security-wise, if you check the briefcases of the Chinese, what is loaded there? Dollars. You know, the dollars. The man never liked a check. So this money had been eaten. While the president was busy building the country, while some of us were busy fighting ICC. You never point a finger at me. Myself, ICC arrested me for 3 days in Fairview Hotel, where I cannot jump. If you jump this side, Israel embassy is waiting to kill you. The other side, the troops were there. So I was caught. So I thought, put me under arrest. May God hold his arm until Jerusalem. So here we are. I was arrested because I came to defend people. Because I came to defend Ruto and the boss and Musaura and the rest of them. I defended them very well. There is no way you will say I never defended them. Sorry about this. There is no way you will say I never defended them. I did it. You saw it on TV. You saw people calling me names. You saw Maina Kiai, Makao Mutua wanting me to be arrested, detained by the ICC. I won my case. No ICC can ever touch me. If they touch me, I will bring down the court. It will go by my mouth because I know everything they did in Kenyan cases. So when Raila and Uhuru decided to do a handshake, to bring 9 points, what is a redemption strategy? Perhaps Kenyans need to know. Perhaps these leaders who are speaking, opening their mouths so loud, and the women who go on opening everything for these people, mouths, they open everything. Handouts from the other house. Every week, handouts. Then you insult Uhuru Kenyatta. They give you handouts to go and insult Uhuru Kenyatta. Some people have even run and left people in the hotel in Thika because the handouts did not arrive in time. Have you heard of the latest this morning? It's very embarrassing. Some people's bags and the wallets have been left in a hotel in Thika. So when Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga decided to go and shake hands, build a new Kenya, a Kenya based on 9 points, points that had killed many African countries. My own country, Uganda, was killed because of lack of national cohesion, because lack of redemption strategy, until I brought that redemption strategy. When we shook hands for the first time, Museveni and Matsanga, there has never been any gun. And I repeat, there has never been any gun. And I repeat, there has never been any gun. Those people who belittle me in this Kenya, you don't know me. There have never been any gun that has been shot when I shook Museveni's hand in 2008. So you should know I'm not just a walkover Mafikizolo. I'm not Mafikizolo. It is just to give credence, but I am not. Let the deputy president know I am not. I shook hands and I have never, nobody has ever, and nobody will ever shoot a bullet in northern Uganda without the command. So I want people to know. It's not this cheap talk of you writing and insulting me. Time has come for me to reassert my authority. I went to school. I did not go to cheap schools. I went to school. I worked hard to pay my school fees. I was cleaning toilets of Bazungu trains to pay my school fees. Nobody wrote for me my PhD, like Dr. William Ruto's PhD was written. My PhD was written by David, and David 1, David 2, David 3, David 4. I can write it again, even when I'm going to the grave. Yes. Yangu. And if you touch me, I produce evidence. Senior Mimi, evidence. You touch me, evidence. You touch me, evidence. Yes. Hakuna mchezo this time. How many hours did you put to read to get a PhD? I took 5 years of hard work between a night club, a train washing with Wachikoya. Professor Wachikoya is here, was my bouncer. We are not lying. So for you, you sat and the paper was brought to you. Unaambia watu, oh, you can't even grow one banana. Work one. So, in a nutshell, to leave others to discuss, the handshake, and let people listen carefully. If you turn the handshake, if you turn the BBI into a political process, you have failed Kenyans. Can I repeat that, Miriam? If you turn BBI into a political process, you have failed President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta and Raila Odinga and the Kenyans at large. BBI is a redemption. Okweyonja, okwena abamumitima. To wash our hearts, to remove hatred, to reconcile. The 9 points give Kenyans reconciliation platform. I don't want to have any problem, but I'm telling you, you might not have this election if you don't do an amendment. If you have not done an amendment, Kenyans, I might not be around, or I will be away. If God says I'll be around, I will. But if you don't do an amendment, don't try elections. I would like to bring in Miriam. I can see Kidi is about to go.
Yes, I'd like to hear
He's on his way in Wote.
Yes.
Well-disciplined city of the Deputy Chief Justice. I want to leave one word. Redemption strategy. BBI is a redemption strategy, not a political process. Please, Kenyans, those who are misunderstanding, don't misunderstand. Read my lips. Read my lips. If you don't do reforms in the IEBC, you are going to fight very badly. There will be no election that Mudhama, Mr. Johnson Mudhama, who wanted Ruto to be jailed and jailed twice, is now the chairman leading Ruto into a trap, calling Uhuru Kenyatta names. I beg to move.
All right, thank you
and
so much.
I hand you over to the studios in Nairobi. Those are my sentiments. And I have no feelings, hard feelings against anybody, but I have evidence for the things that I'm saying. You touch Uhuru Kenyatta, you rattle me. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Doctor, for that introduction. I'll bring in Kidi Mwaga, who seems to be on transit to I don't know where. Kidi, has their winds shaking the BBI process?
Well, Miriam, I'm not on transit. I'm in Wote. I drove out of town for the weekend.
Okay.
But then let me say this. First, Daktari has told us that let us read his lips. I love those words because I first heard them from George W.H. Bush Sr. The BBI
Okay, we seem to have suffered a bit of a technical hitch there, Kidi. Okay, are you able to hear me? All right, so once he's able to come, then Kidi will continue with his thought process. I'll bring in Douglas Kiremi.
Thank you, Miriam. One thing we need to be able to see from all this is that the political conmanship that we have experienced in this country is very dangerous and very, 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 very cantankerous for our democracy and also economy. Miriam, here is a thief who has been stealing public resources. Here is a man who has been conning Kenyans emotionally. Here is an hybrid, a land grabber who has been perfecting the art of grabbing land from fellow Kenyans, former vice presidents, and also government resources. Remember the 2,000-acre land in Ruai, and the same people are promising us to bring heaven and also saying how the government that is incoming is going to do wonders. Miriam, I'm asking a very good question today to the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya and his UDA party brigade. What is that you want to do to Kenyans that you have not done 8 years as a Deputy President? The Constitution says you are a principal assistant to the President of the Republic of Kenya. That means every program and every policy that is implemented by the government of the Republic of Kenya, you are aware. Except for the few months that you have pretended to be out of government, Deputy President William Ruto, you've been in government, you have also gone ahead to tell people in Meru, Embu, Tharaka Nithi, and every other place how you have built roads with the President Uhuru Kenyatta, how you brought SGR with the President Uhuru Kenyatta, how you have done everything with the President Uhuru Kenyatta. Why are you abandoning a child today? Because this child cannot take you to where you want to go. When a woman gives birth to a child and they find a better suitor, that suitor would rather take the woman and the baby. William Ruto cannot abandon the Jubilee baby. It is their baby. They made it in 2013 and 2017. And at this point, William Ruto cannot tell Kenyans what he is coming to do with a suitor in the name of UDA party. What William Ruto is supposed to do now is tune up on Jubilee administration achievements. And when Kenyans feel that the mandate of William Ruto should not be renewed at the ballot in 2022, Deputy President William Ruto, take a break. You've been in politics since I was born. I'm a grown-up man, a very old man. And now you've been coming telling my children and also my brother's children you are coming to bring laptops in 2013. Today, the same children that who are 10 years in 2013, today they are 18 years. You are promising them wheelbarrows. Deputy President William Ruto, why are you taking them to the baggage generation that myself cannot be able to be degraded and be taken to? In this country, we need to perfect the art of being honest men of dignity and honor and men of decency. William Ruto, you have perfected the art of conning Kenyans emotionally, economically, and socially. When you grab their land, you grab their right to have a sewerage done at Ruai. When you grab the KCA land, you deny Kenyans of having facilities in their country that shall grow their economy. When you come and con them politically and promise them things that you cannot be able to deliver, and keep telling them the next government that will come. What is happening with the government that you are in? You have a mandate that is going to last for over 17 months. Deliver what you want to do to Kenyans right now. I submit, Miriam.
All right, very well. Thank you so much, Kidi. I don't know if you're able to continue with the conversation. Have you able to, is the signal okay now? Kidi, if you can hear me. All right, I'll just go to Javan. What's your thoughts on their wins shaking the BBI from what we've been seeing happening, the people opposed to the BBI?
Thank you very much, Miriam, for that question. And let me agree with statements made by Dr. David Matsanga that a BBI is a redemption strategy. as a healing process, because we know in this country we have been politically ill for quite a period of time. Now the BBI present us with an opportunity to mend all the loopholes that have made this country to run on in walls, that have made this country not to run its business normally, that have made corruption to thrive in this country. Those are some of the things that the BBI intends to heal. When we look at the rate of unemployment in this country, it's quite rampant. Not only this a pandemic, unemployment is not a problem that is special to Kenya as a country. This is a global issue. And the BBI comes up with an issue of bringing entrepreneurship skills, because not every time that Kenyans will like to be employed, we can also learn to be self-employers. That is why the BBI talks of a training, business training hubs in every ward at ward level, so that the people of Kenya, the young generation, can read some skills to start and to venture into business. When they talk of 7 years tax relief, that is something that touches on the young people who don't have the capital to start all this business. They are giving a window so that they can put their incomes in order, and they can be able to pay tax in future. Therefore, a BBI as it is something that intends to bring all Kenyans on board and to discuss. And then there's also a problem when it comes to distribution of national resources in this country, where some places they get more money that are not equivalent to the population. The BBI intends to heal that. And that is why you see a lot of noise coming from these people who oppose the BBI, because some of this money have been going to individual pockets. That is why they feel if this money will be distributed equally, some of these corrupt members of parliament, some of these corrupt people in these outfits that support corruption, they will run dry. Their pockets will run dry. That is why they make all this kind of noise. Therefore, BBI also talks a matter of expanded executive that intends to bring inclusivity through having a sense of feeling that all tribes are represented in Kenya. When we had the 2017 election, the former Prime Minister Raila Amolo Odinga represented a huge number of Kenyans. And when they gone to the handshake, all these other tribes, you could see the kind of jubilation and the celebration they had. Therefore, we don't need to have all the people from all tribes at the helm of power, but we need to have a face that represent all these tribes in that table-making decision. That is what we talk about. Therefore, those people who are fighting BBI, they are fighting it for the of ideology to a conversation of making this country great. That is why these people are worried. That is why they come up with a minimum guaranteed return as a scapegoat not to support BBI. Now we have Peter Munya going around the Mount Kenya region and all those regions that grow coffee and tea, and he is collecting views from these public participation forums so that we can make that a priority to all Kenyans. Therefore, in conclusion, all this noise that is coming, these are coming from people who in one way or the other, they major in corruption as their career. They major in intimidation. They major in sabotaging the government agenda as a part of their part-time job. That is why the deputy president has been sabotaging the government agenda. But he is so hypocritical that last week in Kiserian, he was praising the same government agenda. He was praising the scorecard of President Uhuru Kenyatta. This week, he was also fighting the same government, saying that he is not part of the mess in Jubilee government.
And what I hear you saying is, I think I watched that Deputy President praising the scorecard of Jubilee's government and the things that Jubilee government has been able to accomplish and do for Kenyans. But at the same time, he's saying the Jubilee government's agenda has been derailed because of the handshake. So what is what? Which is which? How should Kenyans interpret these different sides of how DP is judging his own government?
Yeah, that kind of misinformation and misconception that the deputy president is creating, saying that the handshake has blocked. And I would like to ask him, how did the handshake block him from opening the government project? How did the handshake block him from making sure that the Ministry of Agriculture through NCPB buys maize from the farmers in Rift Valley? How did the handshake stop Moses Kuria from using his CDF money? How did the handshake block Didi Nyoro from making Kiharo great? Therefore, all this kind of noise, as I said, Miriam, comes from a man who is hypocritical, who when he is in Mount Kenya, he have a different agenda. When he goes to Kisii, he goes there with a different agenda. And all this noise is because, as I told you, these people who oppose BBI, they have made their career through insulting the former prime minister. That is why they are worried that their combined effort with President Uhuru Kenyatta, they will have nobody to incite. They will have nobody to call names when the BBI goes through. That is why they are worried. And they have been saying that Mount Kenya will not support the handshake because of Raila Amolo Odinga. Therefore, if we remove Raila Odinga from the arithmetic of the BBI, they mean they will support because they have a career in insulting the former prime minister. Okay. Therefore, in conclusion, Deputy President is hypocritical, and it is high time he chooses one side, whether to support the scorecard of President Uhuru Kenyatta or to ship out from the government. He cannot be supporting this week when he go to Kiserian. He supports when he is in Kakamega. He is opposing the same government, and he needs to know they were elected in a double ticket, in a dual a ticket with President Uhuru Kenyatta. If President Uhuru Kenyatta has failed, he is not the solution because he is part of the government of Jubilee. If he fails, the President Uhuru Kenyatta has not delivered. He is also part of the Jubilee government, and he should not blame Raila Amolo Odinga. Raila Amolo Odinga is in opposition. He just brought efforts. He just brought a conducive working environment so that the Jubilee government can deliver. He should also thank the former prime minister, because if it was not for his intervention, this country could be still in the deplorable state where Kenya's abandons goods from some certain companies, where the economy was not running well. He should also learn that this country, he is not the only person who has monopoly of candidature. Okay. All Kenyans of goodwill who qualify and meet the constitutional threshold will come and fight for presidency. He is not the only person who can lead this country, and Kenyans will decide.
Okay, thank you so much. Very well said there, Chevan Karanja. Now, Daniel, Chevan, and of course Douglas and Dr. there and Kitty, they've brought up a lot of things there, and particularly what Chevan is saying is Deputy President. From what I hear, what Chevan said, he has been busy, and those politicians allied to him, who, funny enough, are in the Jubilee government, and they've been busy sabotaging the agenda of the Jubilee government. The Jubilee government, not just President Uhuru Kenyatta, the Jubilee government, they came together, they sat down, they said, this is what we have as an agenda of how we want to transform the lives of Kenyans for the next 5 years, or for now nearly over 8 years now. All right, and so the same people are the ones who are going to sabotage the same things that they're supposed to be doing to Kenyans, so to make President Uhuru Kenyatta look bad, especially after that handshake. And so now they're saying it is the handshake, after sabotaging, now it is the handshake that has derailed the agenda of the Jubilee government. So they're sort of setting a stage whereby they say, you know what, we promised this and this and this, and Jubilee government had a very wonderful idea and strategy and a manifesto and agenda on how to transform the Kenyans' lives, until the handshake happened, and that disrupted our whole plan. And now here we are. But don't worry, if you elect me, I'll do better. But in the meantime, just blame President Uhuru Kenyatta, as I will remove myself from the situation. I mean, it's just confusing. How is this working under their wings, shaking the BBI? Daniel.
Miriam, first and foremost, I would like to say that a wise man once said that he who does not below the truth when he knoweth the truth makes himself an accomplice of liars and forgers. And I'm very happy that on this platform, we've chosen the path of truth and hard facts, and that is what we are giving to them. Let me tell you for a record, Miriam, whoever says that the handshake or the BBI is an impediment to service delivery to Jubilee administration is perhaps exploiting the ignorance of the masses. Because for a fact, Miriam, in 2013, 2017, we had William Ruto as the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. And at that time, he had an authority to really sit in cabinet, and he is up to today, Miriam, to really influence whichever policies, whichever projects the government of the day is being able to outsource and be able to implement to the citizens of this country. William Ruto has his side of the government where he nominated his people to the cabinet as cabinet ministers, and these people in their respective dockets have been receiving budgetary allocation from the national government to implement various development projects. Number two, Miriam, is that these legislators who are allies of the deputy president, just like any other legislator, either from ODM, either from the president's side of Jubilee government, have had an equal chance before the floor of parliament to enact laws that could be implemented to better the lives of people of Kenya. Let them come and tell us, this is what we've done before the handshake happened, and this is what we've not been able to do because the handshake came into being. So to me, Miriam, I think William Ruto is using that as a political tool to be able to shoot down the handshake and be able to derail the agenda of the Building Bridges initiative. And for a fact, Miriam, as Dr. Matsanga said, BBI is a people-driven process. It is there to benefit the people of Kenya, because at the end of the day, we have been the people who have been suffering under the divisive politics. We have the people who have been fighting one another because we do not have equitable distribution of our national resources. And therefore, it is a people-driven agenda, Miriam. And just to quote what the first female vice president of the US, that is Kamala Harris, said recently after they won the election. She said that our unity is our strength and our diversity is our power. We must reject the myth of us versus them. We are these together. We should be into this together, and that is what we are having as a country. When you look at the situation in Kenya vis-a-vis whatever we have in the US, we are actually having a synonymous situation where one side we have a very sharply divided nation, where some part of the population thinks that they have been disadvantaged to the benefit of the other, and this is a dangerous narrative that has been perpetuated with none other than the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. And therefore, this is the ailment that the BBI is out there to heal, to bring the redemption strategy Dr. Matsanga always talks about, to bring healing to this nation. And therefore, no one should brand the BBI as the greatest impediment to development. We have been having this conversation before. We're going to be having it before. And whoever says that the Jubilee government is not delivering due to the handshake should take a ride along Waiyaki Way, along Mombasa Road, and see the robust work that actually the president is doing in constructing the JKIA Expressway. He should take a visit to coastal parts of the country and be able to see the Dongo Kundu bypass, to see the Likoni bridge. So to me, Miriam, I think this is just an excuse to really derail the BBI agenda, and we should not give William Ruto and his allies to play petty politics with the unity of the people of Kenya, petty politics with the development of President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. And for a fact, he is the greatest danger to the legacy of the president. And that has been talked about not today, not yesterday, not the other day, by so many Kenyans of sober mind who have been seeing him campaign when the president is delivering on his agenda, who have been seeing him insult the president as the president focuses on service delivery. So let William Ruto keep his pettiness and his sabotage to himself, and let the president deliver to the people of Kenya. I rest my case, Miriam.
All right. Thank you so much. And I think that is where we end our conversation on Kenya.
And Miriam.
Yes.
Before you end on BBI, how do you milk a cow? The cow, you milk a cow, then deny it grass. But when you see it dying, you tell the onlookers, it's not my cow, is the cow of Uhuru Kenyatta. I rest my case. How do you milk a cow, deny it grass, and when it is sick, you say no, tell the onlookers, it is not my cow, but you have milked it with Chinese. take Emerald Dam, Timeroro Dam. You've eaten the money. You bought it 7 helicopters, Airbus, with bulletproof. You were born in a family where the father could not afford shoes. But how did you get this money, which you can buy 7 helicopters? Unless you had a chamber of cocaine, which must now come out, or you clobbered the people on the way, or you laundered it. So bring it on. Let the government of Kenya not fear hustler. Yeah, let's return this same message to Mudhama. Mudhama is a drug dealer. He was found in a house in Runda. What was he doing when the Venezuelan envoy was killed? Was it Venezuela or Colombia? Muniambie. Let's take it back. That I am a party chairman. Party chairman who was trading in drugs in Runda. If you are a party chairman, William, just give me a minute. If you are a party chairman and you are found in a house where a diplomat died, and then because the former director of DCI was your friend, and you fictitiously fixed the that now you are the chairman of UDA. Watch our letter. President Uhuru Kenyatta, don't fear. Let them bring this thing out. Mulete, this to end pande hii, waende pande hii. I swear my side has never lost. I want to promise you that there is no side that I have stood on and it has ever lost an election. Show me. 2017, we won. Round 1, Maraga was paid money. He has failed how to eat it. Did you see the package of Maraga? Kenyans, you really have a package of Maraga taking all that money home. You know? The president should not fear these people. Let them be on their side and we on this side. We do the campaign. Walaya Mungu, by the end of the day, most of them would have run from that hustler thing and come back. Show me one of the leaders of UDA who has no big skeleton. Hassan Omar. Hassan Omar resurrected when the Italian nurse was. Wacha maneno yenye. Wacha. Yeah, you insult Uhuru Kenyatta. We have prepared the dossier for you. And by the way, we are going to start answering the legacy tomorrow from 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock. The legacy trend will be answering every day. Paka mwisho. Mimi. 1 hour lecture. Mambo ya Uhuru peke yake. Tomorrow. From tomorrow onwards. The legacy 10 o'clock. Sindio yako. Miriam starts at 9 up to 10. Mine is 10 to 11. Then continue with the other subject. Well. From tomorrow. Those who want to join me, join me. Let's also, to begin now, Uhuru has brought development. Uhuru has brought roads. People are driving back home. My younger man is in Makueni with the girlfriend. It's very good. This is very good time, good hands out You know the road is very clear. You have to go out and enjoy and ooze the air. Karanja is having visitors from Nairobi to Nanyuki. Uhuru has delivered. Don't taint his legacy. We legacy yako ya kuiba pesa tu. No, tuambie, if you say your father was poor, how did you get this money then? Hiyo peke yake. Please, watu ya Uhuru, don't ask too many questions. What the people they call dynasty, don't ask many questions, ask that. Agree, yes. You found, if Matanga is a political scientist, all my children have degrees. If they get jobs, or one of them becomes the president of Uganda in the future when I'm not there, will you call him what? You refuse him. Because I'm sure one of them will topple whoever will be there. Will you kill them? Because they were children of what? Huh? If you say your dad did not have the money to buy you shoes, or the first shoe you bought from Onyango in Eldoret, then how did you get all these new shirts of Turkey that you go on wearing, changing shirts? This is the bonanza of fashion. It's childish. You leave these things to the younger men like Mr. Nani, Mr. Kitty, Mr. This, those who show fashion. The whole deputy president showing shirts from Turkey. Go and buy shirts from Marks and Spencer. Like some of us who have bought from there for a long time. All our years, 65 years, I'm still wearing Marks and Spencer. Yeah, and a Pringle. Not this fashion show. Sindio, kama unataka kureduce President Uhuru Kenyatta, na sisi tutakureduce. Miriam, sikia hiyo, tutakureduce kabisa. Unamreduce na sisi tutakureduce. Unaambia watu yako kumreduce, insult him, we are his friends. We shall also not insult but educate you. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Miriam, I'm sorry. Let's go to the other topics.
All right.
But as far as BBI is concerned, the wind will not shake it. President Uhuru Kenyatta should forge on. No election should take place in Kenya unless there are amendments. Otherwise, you are going to look for the best word is called inferno.
Mm-hmm.
Inferno. Omuliro. Mm-hmm. Inferno. Kumuliro. I don't know what you call it in your language in Luo. Inferno. Everlasting fire. Don't try elections. If you have not amended this constitution, don't try. Please. Please, Kenyans. Because the way things are now, the way things you are shaping yourselves towards an inferno, not a conflict. An inferno is worse than a conflict. Check your English language. Thank you very much, viewers. This is Punchline Africa Television, broadcasting all the way from the Political Command Center in London. And back in Nairobi, Miriam Ogut.
All right, very well, thank you, Dr. Matsanga. And
Miriam.
No, Douglas. Because of the interest of time, I'd like us to move to the next topic very quickly. Tomorrow we shall have another time to look at the BBI and, of course, the forces that are fighting the BBI. Douglas, if you would permit me, please, because of we have another 5 topics to look at, so we have to consider time. And so our next topic is on Uganda, and does Uganda need a wider dialogue? Now, the latest from Uganda is that the European Union has joined a growing number of international voices calling for a probe into Ugandan election abuses and violence that left more than 40 people dead in the lead up to the polls. Opposition candidates were harassed by security forces. The media was suppressed by the government. The observers' offices were raided, as said the European Union Council of Ministers in a statement on Wednesday last week. And Uganda's long-time leader, Yoweri Museveni, was declared the winner for a record sixth term amid an internet blackout and allegations of abuse. Bobi Wine, the opposition leader, has been under house arrest after the military surrounded his home on Friday after the elections, on 15th after the elections. He maintains the elections were rigged. Now Museveni's senior press secretary Don Wanyama referred, when asked about what is happening there, he referred CNN, who was asking him what is happening, to the police when contacted about Wine's house arrest, implying that President Yoweri Museveni knows nothing about the detention. So what he said is that President Museveni does not know that Bobi Wine is under house arrest. So he's even shocked. And he said, why would he? Why would President Museveni know this? Stop Musevenizing everything and talk to the police. Now, the Ugandan police force did not immediately respond for the comment, and the police said in a tweet they made arrangements for Wine to access his lawyers on Tuesday, but they claim he refused to meet them. If you were to speak through your lawyers, that means you're being charged with something, or you broke a law, or you've done something in contravention of the law of the country. But from what we understand is the crime that Bobi Wine did was just to run for an election. So now for him to leave his house, he requires a lawyer. I don't know. We'll start. Yes.
Let me come in, Miriam.
Yes, go ahead.
Let me save Museveni face. I and Dr. Ruakana Rugunda have served this country before. And tomorrow there will be an open letter that I have written to Dr. Ruakana Rugunda. You will see it. The whole world will see it. Uganda needs a wider dialogue. If we were to save it now, we need a wider dialogue. The more Museveni or whoever is holding Kyagulanyi in his house, the more trouble you are brewing. You are playing with an inferno. You are rising the emotions. The emotions, emotionally. The Baganda are rising. It's the rise of Uganda, Mr. President. And let's talk the truth. And the Ugandans. And once the bigger tribe rises, the smaller ones will go in. There's nothing you will stop. With the rate of poverty and the type of corruption that we have, people are upset. And I want the Ugandans to hear me. Uganda needs a wider dialogue. When you talk about the elections, there was no election. This was nomination. There was no election. You talk about Don who? These are small boys with shoes that they have bought 5 pairs of shoes. Don Wanyama with 5 pairs of shoes. Rubbish. Don who? Who can talk about this one? You tell, he comes near this man's place. This Wesonga here. Rubbish. The suffering of one opposition leader in jail. I cannot sit here as a Ugandan, an elder of 65 years old, tell the world that I'm happy. When one of my sons cannot get food, cannot get water, cannot see people, you have stolen the vote. Take the vote and leave the man to go. If he wants to fly to America, let him go. What crime has he committed? What crime has Bob Wine committed? What crime? Show me one crime that Bob Wine committed. Why detain him? That is very bad. Even if you find whoever you want to find, there is nothing that I cannot sit here and accept to see a Ugandan languishing in his house. All rights removed. No charge sheet. Where is the charge sheet? What has he done wrong? The election is over. Let's forge a way of national wider dialogue. Wider dialogue comes when you accept that the loser had a mark. Museveni got 5.9 million votes. Allegedly they stole 5.9. Kyagulanyi got 3 million votes. Both of them took part in a shambly organized gerrymandered elections. Good English there. It's a gerrymandered election. It was gerrymandered. There is no election there. It is a gerrymandered election. There was no election. Look at it. How can polling material arrive in Rukungiri and it doesn't arrive 10 kilometers away from the Kyambogo? Can you explain to me? There was no fuel. Between the Kyambogo and another station in Kampala, even if you start walking at 6 o'clock, you'll arrive with the polling, with the material, if there was no petrol. These are all irregularities. So as Ugandans, let's now seek wider perspective. How do we interact? When we wanted to bring the end to the war in northern Uganda, President Museveni came to Juba and even told us we are wasting time. He wanted to go quickly and hammer Konya and kill him. That's what he said. Wasting time. We insisted, and the UN and other agencies insisted. We said, let's try. We tried and we brought the peace that you see today. I brought that peace. It is not the army. The documents are very clear there. So what I'm saying, Miriam, as a Ugandan, at the moment, there's not even a labor march on this. It is very clear that every Ugandan is saying, let's have wider dialogue. If Museveni can accept, call these people, call Bob Wine, sit them down and say, I stole some of the things, or the things happened, but let me prepare my as an elder, I want you a good Uganda. And I want us to shake hands and we continue with our production until 2026. But I will not stand in 2026. Okay? Instead of bringing in more and more cracker units of the army to beat up Uganda, you know you are beating a region that has ever caused chaos, a revolution before. Obote tried, he did not defeat them. Don't antagonize the Baganda. Don't make their nationalism rise. Very soon nationalism will rise. You might not control it, Your Excellency. That's all my plea. And I call upon Ugandans, I'm not going to speak much on this subject again. I call upon you, people, don't take the law in your hands. Wait while we are looking for a solution. Advocate for Mr. Kyagulanyi to be released. We seek a solution. I am speaking from the authority as the only constituency in outside Uganda that won the elections on NUP ticket. My MP is a Mugisi, is my brother. He's the only MP on NUP from my constituency. You can see how I don't change sides. You can see the political landmine I have inside my heart, determined that my father's grave should not have a flag of yellow. So thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Kirimi. Doctor is saying now it is about time for Uganda to have a dialogue, and President Museveni, of course, was declared the winner for his 6th term there, starting last week, and we know as we speak right now, the opposition leader, Robert Kyagulanyi, is still being held under...
Miriam, I'm scared of this word, declare the winner. Nominated winner.
Nominated a winner there. Okay, fine. But the Electoral Commission of Uganda said President Museveni won with a landslide of over 5.9 million votes there. And the opposition leader has since been held under house arrest under no clear reasons as to why they're still doing that, which I think is contrary to the law itself. And now the topic we're having today is is there a need for Uganda to have a wider dialogue? And I'm thinking there has to be some conditions for this dialogue to take place. First of all, why is the opposition leader still being held and the house? Can you imagine if that even happened here in Kenya? That's an impossible situation there. And also, is it about time that Ugandans had an honest and open conversation about their bad electoral practices and processes there in Uganda? Douglas.
Thank you, Miriam. And we should not blame the people of Uganda. It is not the people of Uganda who have bad tendencies and bad habits during elections. It is President Yoweri Museveni. It is General Museveni of Uganda who has that bad habit. And it's about time the people of Uganda demands a dialogue between the opposition, the civil society, the people of Uganda, and General Museveni and his family. Because the family of General Museveni in the army chief is his son. In the government and end of state and end of government is General Museveni himself. The people of Uganda, through the opposition, the civil society, and also the general populace, needs to force General Museveni into a dialogue, because the people of Uganda deserve better. For 34 years and 11 months, General Museveni since 1986 has been at the aim of presidency in Uganda. But the people of Uganda at this point, they are tired. People of Uganda are tired. The opposition can't breathe. The civil society can't breathe.
Sorry, I'm cutting you, Douglas, but I just want to tie to what you're saying. Now, if a lot of people in Uganda feel the way they're feeling now should they go for a dialogue? What should they be dialoguing about? I think that is the bigger question. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Miriam. Thank you for that direction. And also, that is where I was going to. Mm-hmm. Remember, the people of Uganda needs to come. Their first condition is to reform their electoral commission, and also sack the commissioners that have been appointed directly by President Museveni, and also have an out-of-power deal with President Museveni, so that the people of Uganda can determine who their leaders can be. Remember, since 1986, for over 34 years and 11 months, the people of Uganda have never enjoyed voting. Instead, General Museveni has been nominating himself, using a self-appointed electoral commission in Uganda that has been able to perpetuate his culture of incompetence, bad leadership, dictatorship, and also stifling the voices of the opposition and civil society in Uganda. Number two, after the electoral commission in Uganda, it is how the structure of government is done, how the government is distributing resources to the people of Uganda. You know, in government, in elections, it's about competition of policies and competition of resources and distribution of resources for equal opportunities and also equal distribution of resources for the people of Uganda. They have to come to the table. As of today, in Uganda, there are people in Soroti There are people in Moroto and there are people in Tororo who cannot get government resources or also infrastructure because they are not allied to General Museveni. There are people in Buganda, the Raja Buganda, who cannot be able to access these things because the general himself does not want to accommodate divergent views. But what we need to have in Uganda today is the people of Uganda to fight for equal distribution of resources, because the people of Uganda did not appoint General Museveni as the end of their natural resources management alone. The government of Uganda, today led by General Museveni, has been able to defranchise the people of Uganda, has not distributed resources equally to the people of Uganda. Resources are shared among few people who are also form part of the Museveni family. Remember, Sam Kutesa and Museveni are in-laws. These are people who own Kampala. These are people who use natural resources in Uganda. These are people who use government opportunities to themselves. And at this point, the people of Uganda, if they don't talk, the US has been calling for the same, the AU has been calling for the same. The only person or only entity that is not speaking, it is the African Union. The African Union, you are sleeping on the issue in Uganda. You have perpetuated the culture of helping this dictator in power so that the people of Uganda cannot have this conversation. And at this point in Uganda, for the people in different parts of Uganda to have a wider dialogue, to have a conversation that involves the people of Uganda, involve the people from the grassroots, involve their leaders, involve the opposition, and also make sure on that, fourthly, they need to also release all political prisoners, including Chaguranyi, who is jailed at his own home. They need to release all political prisoners and also the people that are in exile. There are people General Museveni has threatened their lives killed, their wives killed, their families. They need to be returned to the table in Uganda for them to talk. Because at this point, Miriam, before Museveni is forced out of power, we have a wider problem in Uganda. The problem of detaining political dissent and also people with alternative voices and stifling the voices of positive Ugandans. General Museveni has treated the people of Uganda and Uganda as his personal property, and it's the high time he comes to the table. And on these conditions, the people of Uganda can build a better future and also force General Museveni to come to terms with that. And if the Electoral Commission, who has been nominating General Museveni as president of Uganda for 34 months and 11 months, these people can now bring about an out-of-power deal, because the people of Uganda are tired. People of goodwill in the world like myself are tired. We need dialogue in Uganda.
All right.
Thank you, and I submit.
Thank you so much. And I'm sure wherever President Museveni is, I'm sure he does not think there's even a need or a dialogue is necessary there in Uganda, because according to him, everything is okay. And from what he said after the elections there, he said this is one of the most transparent elections in the history of Uganda, meaning that the rest had a lot of irregularities, but still he was the one who had been declared a winner for the last 5 elections until this other one. But he's saying this one was very fantastic. It was done in a very transparent way, free and fair. So there's nothing to worry about. So I don't think he even thinks there's a need for a wider dialogue. And as you've seen there, his senior press secretary, Don Wanyama, telling CNN that President Yoweri Museveni is not aware that the opposition leader there in Uganda is under house arrest. I think the level of dishonesty. So if they're coming to assuming they would even agree for a dialogue, but if that is their thinking, I mean, what kind of content should this dialogue be based on? Jevan, should the country decide to take that route?
Thank you very much, and I thank all the people who are calling for a dialogue in Uganda. We saw when the South Sudan had an issue, when the dialogue came, they struck a deal that still tries to hold South Sudan as a country together. And that is the kind of thing that we need. In Kenya, when we had the post-violence election in 2007-2008, we had a grand coalition government that was formed by the opposition and the president-elect, in that time, President Kibaki. Therefore, these things work, and they should emulate that kind of a route, because it brings equality, because everybody is brought on board. And that's exactly a good call. And I support Dr. David Matsanga, AU, and all other stakeholders who feel like the country of Uganda needs to come together. One thing that they should put on the table, they should look, and I would submit to them, and I would suggest that they look at the BBI way in Kenya. They come with a commission, they come with a secretariat that will go around Uganda collecting views of Ugandans to know what is that is ailing them the most, to know what they need, to know what will bring them together. They need to have a commission that will go around taking views, listening to these Ugandans. And one thing that I must recommend if I was in Uganda is to have Museveni, this to be his last term in office, so that he relinquishes power and he allows somebody else to take the helm of leadership from where he has took Uganda. We are not saying that he has not done anything when he was in helm of, maybe he has done one or two positive things, but all the negativity during electioneering period, that is what causes the Uganda to be the state it is now. That is an injustice, that is intimidation. And number two, they should also look at the electioneering body. The Electoral Commission in Uganda should be put in the scaling to understand what it is that they need to upgrade, what is it that they need to work on, so that they can be sure of a credible and verifiable and transparent election that is free from all kind of election malpractices. Number three, they should also look at the issue of development, how the agenda that will take this country to the next level. By doing that, they will ensure that Uganda is at the helm, it is at the map, and it belongs to where it needs to be. Therefore, I recommend a structure of a kind of a BBI handshake. Number one, the best thing that they need to do is to take Bobby Wine and Museveni on the table. By doing that, these people will have a handshake, they talk the issue, they understand each other, and they forgive each other. Because when you have forgiveness, we can be able to move forward as a country. But where it stands now, we see a lot of hypocrisy, a lot of sarcasm coming from that man in the government of Uganda, Don Wanyama, saying that Museveni is not aware that Bobby Wine is under house arrest. Who doesn't know? The whole world knows. How comes only the Museveni, the president of Uganda, doesn't know? That is hypocritical. Museveni knows, and he knows the reason why Bobby Wine is in custody. They also need to tell us as Kenyans and all the world at large, why is Bobby Wine in house custody? Why is he under arrest?
I think that's why that is where the dialogue should start, because the only mistake, apparently, according to the Ugandan constitution, the only fault and the only law that Bobby Wine broke is running for the presidency in the Republic of Uganda, because we've not heard that Bobby Wine has done anything else outside of but that seems to be the treasonous act that Bobby Wine did, I suppose.
Yeah, who was supposed to run for this election, if not the likes of Bobby Wine? That is not a crime. That is a constitutional right. That is a democratic right. If you meet the constitutional threshold, you are not supposed to be denied an opportunity to present your views to the citizens, to present your agenda and ideology to the people of Uganda. Therefore, that is not a crime. To run for the political office, that was the best thing, because he was trying to bring alternative voice, alternative development to the people of Uganda. Therefore, in conclusion, the people of Uganda deserve the best, and that will only be achieved on the negotiating table. Therefore, I invite all the bodies, the people, to spark a conversation, to catalyze a conversation that will bring the people of Uganda all in board. And the BBI process, they should learn one or two, three things from the process that is taking place in Kenya.
Yes,
Thank
indeed.
you.
But there's no time we ever had President Uhuru Kenyatta sending a whole contingent of army officials to opposition leaders' home, and that he could not leave his house or anything. Even after Raila went and sworn himself, that we never saw that. So there's a difference. In Kenya, I know we have our own madness and how we are having our own struggles with our democracy. But what is happening in Uganda is just above and beyond. Daniel Wasonga, should there be a conversation there, the dialogue? And of course, there is a need for that there in Uganda, because a lot of people are hurting. We see a lot of worrying reports here, even from our viewers. But where should that dialogue start, and what should be the content of that dialogue?
Miriam, first and foremost, let me reiterate that my tribesman from Busoga, that is Don Innocent Wanyama, is being very, very untruthful to the world and to the people of Uganda. Don is a very, very close friend of General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, who is the first son of President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. And therefore, they are very much aware of whatever is happening to Bobby Wine. But as it is, Miriam, Ugandans have been through a lot. And that stems back even to the leadership of Yoweri Museveni, more than 3 decades under totalitarian leadership of Yoweri Museveni. And Asanta Shakur, one of the liberty champions of black liberty in the US, she said that people get used to anything. And the less you think about your oppression, the less you think about your suffering, the more tolerant you become to it. And after a while, people just think that oppression is a normal set of things. But to become free, you have to think about the problems you are facing as a people. You have to think on how to get better as a people. And remember also George Orwell, the best political playwright of all times in history, said that the object of terrorism is terrorism. The object of oppression is oppression. The object of torture is torture. And the object of murder is murder itself. So if Ugandans refuse to get oppressed, if Ugandans can refuse this kind of terror, state-sponsored terror that is being perpetuated by General Kaguta Museveni, then they will start to have a dialogue on how to better things, on how to get Bobi Wine from the solitary confinement that the dictatorial regime of Museveni has put him under. So it is upon Ugandans to come up and stand against General Kaguta Museveni and tell him enough is enough. The 30 plus years that you've been in power are enough, and therefore you should let us now have another conversation to have a new breed of leaders coming to be able to spearhead Uganda. You cannot be a president for life. Ugandans need new ideas. And that is the conversation that they need to have, Miriam.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Surely, the conditions there in Uganda, they're not favorable for any form of dialogue that can move the country forward, judging from the attitude we've been seeing from the leadership of President Yoweri Museveni.
Miriam?
Yes.
Under the panel, any peace mediator like me would find those conditions. We look for favorable conditions to make warring parties come on table. I have the solution. And that one of the solutions that I've just told you is release Bob Wine. That's solution number 1. Isolate, let Bob Wine address, talk to his people, and tell them we are going to court. Let the Supreme Court of the Republic of Uganda make a decision as to whether they don't. I think the judges saw what happened. So I don't think this time. That's why the President Museveni has told the court to go on recess for 3 months. You see? So
the conditions
even
are
if
not
you want
favorable.
to make your application in 14 days, we had an election on 14th. Results were declared on 16th. How many days are left for an application to be lodged in the court? Under which court you want to lodge the application? There is still chaos here. So a mediator like me, I would isolate those areas. First, President Museveni has to accept that there was something that was not right in these elections. You have to convince him, bring facts on the table, figures on the table, and then also tell him to leave the opposition leaders to be free so that they can engage in the discussions. If you go on keeping Bob Wine, and I'm here still with you, let them go on keeping Bob Wine the way they are keeping, and then something happens to Bob Wine. Even President Museveni might not like it. I'm telling you, the country will go in flames. Let them leave this young man, let him do whatever he wants to say. The police is not going. Ugandans are very law-abiding citizens. And they are not. The only thing Ugandans are quick at is to go to the bush. Yes, don't ask me too many questions, but I'm telling you, we are very quick. We don't talk much like you people here talk a lot. When we decided that we have gone, we have gone. Even if we were 20, let's all of us be finished. But we leave a legacy that 20 of us went and we are killed. But they are patient people. They are patient. This younger man is, all his administrative staff are in prison, in jail, in safe houses. Some have limbs, some have bruises, some broken legs, broken liver, intestines broken. Yeah, everything, every part, their legs are up in, they are sick. They have put them, they have beaten them. This is something we cannot keep quiet. And then you cannot have someone coming on international television. That's why from next week, we shall be countering them on international televisions, where everybody knows their problem. They are not good at managing us. But the truth is, peace is important. Nobody can advocate for war. I've told you the story. None of my people who returned home has ever got a gun and said he wants to shoot in northern Uganda. And it will never be there. But the way things are going, people can say, what is going on? Release Bob Wine, let him go. Let him go and meet. He is a member of parliament. By the way, the Uganda constitution allows parliament to finish, in May. So Bob Wine legally is still a member of parliament, of Uganda parliament, until we swear in President Museveni on 12th of May. The old parliament is still working. We left it there that in case the Uganda constitution left it in case in these campaigns, 1 or 2 candidates collapse and an election is nullified. The parliament had to come quickly and sit down to change the law. We put a safeguard in the 1995 constitution, which is one of the best articles. You don't immediately swear like in Kenya, the man takes over for 14 days after that he goes. No, Uganda will give 5 months. While the old parliament continues to make laws. You see? So in case there is anything now, even the person you have selected as the one who was nominated ends up having some sickness, the parliament can come back and declare a state of emergency and hand over the powers to the Speaker of Parliament to run another election. You get my point? So that's why the Constitution was made that way. So for now, I think our plea is release Bob Wine, let him come out, let him talk to his people, let him file his papers to the Supreme Court, and you can look at him as a Ugandan, free to walk. I think the police are saying there are people who want to kill him. So do they know who want to kill him? That's what the police spokesman was saying.
The same spokesman.
So who are these who want to kill? Yes.
Yeah. So
people want the same police spokesman said in Nanga. He said the people, we are keeping Bob Wine for protection case. Protection. Safe custody. But you cannot keep a man in safe custody in his own house.
It's ridiculous.
There are gazetted areas where you can lock this safe custody item. One of the gazetted areas is the prison or police cells. So you cannot gazette a man and leave him in the house. Illegal. Anyway, Miriam, let's move into the next topic again.
Doctor, I did not know that is the reason they gave, that Bobby Wine lies
is
in danger.
That's what the police spokesman gave.
To put him in his house by force without his consent.
according to their intelligence reports, there were people planning to kill Bob Wine. So do they know who wants to kill Bob Wine?
And even his lawyer cannot access him. Come on now, the government of Uganda. You need to stop with that nonsense now. Let's move to our next topic, and that is in Zimbabwe. And there has been a war of words between Zimbabwe and South Africa on the COVID-19 pandemic, and South Africa's decision to shut its land borders was preceded by a week of pandemonium as hundreds of thousands of Zimbabweans and other foreigners tried to return to work after the December holidays there. So Bight Bridge, the only legal road crossing between Zimbabwe and South Africa, was the worst affected, and people have waited, and others waited as long as 4 days in lines of traffic that stretched miles. And of course, South Africa's government decided to do this without even prior notice there. And on average, that place serves about 25,000 people a day, and that is according to Zimbabwe's immigration department. But the number rises dramatically in January for those who had gone to visit their family and friends in Zimbabwe. Now they're coming back who work and reside in South Africa. And many, 2 to 3 million Zimbabweans working in South Africa, returned home in December, and they rushed back to work in early January. And now they were very much affected. And we've seen that in others. Now it has culminated to a war of words between Zimbabwe and South Africa. Doctor, what is the latest there?
First of all, we shall not take much time on this subject. I am very conversant with it. And let me give you a few facts. First, on February 18th, I wrote a letter. Miriam, you remember that letter? Warning African governments that this pandemic will be our Waterloo if we are not prepared, if we are not careful. Zimbabwe this week alone has lost 5 cabinet ministers, 5 prominent people, including cabinet ministers.
Four
the Minister of
the cabinet,
Affairs, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and others. They have gone. My great friend, Lieutenant General CBC Omoyo. But there has been very serious war, diplomatic war between South Africa and Zimbabwe, each claiming that the pandemic is coming from each other's place. South Africa, originally, you remember Zimbabwe had the lowest number of coronavirus patients. So what happened is the cross-border and air transport continued between South Africa and Harare. Over Christmas, South Africans, Zimbabweans who are now naturalized in South Africa, came back for Christmas. They wanted to go back. The situation in South Africa, every hospital is full up. A new breed of COVID-19 has come up in the same South Africa. But behind all this, there is something that I told you, Miriam, that international agencies of George Soros and the Facebook, not Facebook, the Microsoft man, Bill Gates, and others, they know something that we don't know. South Africa continues to be on the line. The president of South Africa wants to take in the vaccine. Most South Africans, like as you know, with AIDS, they say there is no AIDS. So you could not inject a South African. In fact, now, this disease is very rampant if you have underlying sickness, like AIDS, HIV, cancer, tuberculosis, what is the common one? the common one, what is it? There is a common diabetes,
yeah.
Especially diabetes,
and
which
hypertension
always occurs. Yeah, if you have that, it takes you like the river Nile flowing from the dam. So, but in South Africa, what has happened is different. You remember South Africans refused to agree that there is HIV/AIDS. Even President Zuma said, you just wash your hands and you wash, if you have had sex, you just wash yourself with Lifebuoy and the soap, mutingombe, ile kubwa, and then you walk out, you are clean. So South Africans were discouraged from going to hospital to take antivirus and viral, you know, of HIV. Now, when this thing came, it has swept. That's why there is increasing numbers. Here in Kenya, across in Uganda, the figures are low. In fact, Kenya has managed this virus so well. And I give a credit to our doctors. Give a credit to the frontline workers. You have managed the ratio of sampling. If you look at the patients that are recovering in Kenya to the ratio of infection, it gives you a great map if you have gone to school. But if you have not gone to school and exams were written for you, you might not see the difference and therefore condemn Uhuru Kenyatta. You know, to be very honest, and it was written for you. You know the people, Miriam, whose exam was written. So now, if you look at that, you now condemn Uhuru Kenyatta for the pandemic, that he should not hold an amendment because there is a pandemic. Yet you haven't looked at the ratio between the recovery versus the infected people. The rate of infection is about 70, recovery is about 70,000, which is not very far from 99,898 by yesterday. So that is a very good, you know, it means they have maintained. In South Africa, the rate of death is almost the same as the rate of infection daily. So now Zimbabwe and South Africa started a war of words, and they have been having it. Miriam closed the border. Zimbabwe is saying South Africa is accusing Zimbabwe for having brought pandemic. Zimbabwe says, where do we get the pandemic? It is more of your side, not this side. That's all we can talk about this program.
All right. And Doctor, you've explained that so well for us. I don't think the rest of us even have a need to go in unless any of us has anything you need to add on top of that. Douglas and Javen or Daniel.
No, Miriam, Doctor has already spoken. I have nothing to add on that. He's the expert on Zimbabwe and other African countries.
He has explained that very well. So now we'll go to Central African Republic, even as our time slowly comes to an end, and who is behind the conflict there in the Central African Republic after an election marred by violence. The president of the Central African Republic won 5 more years in power, but his victory is contested and the fate of the country balances on a knife edge. A desperate jumble of armed groups formed an alliance in November and launched an offensive in a bid to disrupt this crucial vote. Since the election, fighting has continued in towns nationwide, with the rebels threatening to march on the capital Bangui. So far, there has been kept away by the United Nations, the peacekeepers there, Central African rebels, armed forces, and hundreds of reinforcements from Russia and Rwanda. The political opposition has said Faustin Todare's victory lacks legitimacy and demanding for a rerun. While voters turned out in force in Bangui and other towns, militants launched a violent and disruptive campaign of intimidation elsewhere and burning ballot boxes, ransacking polling stations, and preventing the vote in over 40% of electoral districts in this chronically unstable country. So 40% of the country did not even participate in this voting. 40%. Let's just start from there. Douglas.
Thank you, Miriam. And the issue in Central African Republic today presents a situation on what Dr. David Matsanga has been doing. And when you do a Google search on do Africa need elections, you get many reactions from that. But the clearest indication is from Dr. David Matsanga, where he alludes, and also allude, and many other people allude, that Africa does not need elections. For example, today, the president in Central African Republic lacks legitimacy to run a government and also lacks legitimacy to form any government in Central Africa. Why? Because Bozize and UPDF, aided by General Museveni, the Russians, all the armies that you see, the army people and also the rebels that you see in Central African Republic, and to frustrate the election so that they can also claim the issue of legitimacy. As a person of goodwill on Central African Republic, why would I say that the president lacks legitimacy? He lacks legitimacy because over 40% did not vote in that country. Over 40% feels excluded from the governance of their country. Polling stations actually did not see ballot boxes in that day, on that day. Again, why would the opposition led by Bozize and also his supporters like Museveni and other people stop the people of Central Africa from voting? This comes to this brings the debate to a conclusive end that says Africa does not need elections. Why would the people of Central Africa at around 40% be prevented by rebels from voting? When they go voting, men and children and women lose their lives because some people want to stay in power, led by Bozize and also aided by foreign powers like UPDF of Museveni. We need to also interrogate the issue by everything that we see in Central Africa. The issue is the control of minerals that we see in Central Africa. In Central Africa today, 2 brains leave their capital city to foreign countries. These countries are the people that are behind the mess that we see today in Central African Republic. And I think at the end of the day, we need to also tell ourselves the truth and the issue concerning Central Africa. We need to resolve it from a Pan-African perspective. If we were to solve the issue for the people of Central African Republic, because their resources are at the stake and their lives as a people are at the stake. When they do elections, foreign powers will come and interfere. Museveni, we not only have Museveni problem in Uganda, he has even invaded Central African Republic. And that's why we are saying we need to stop Museveni and other powers from meandering into other African countries and also causing mayhem. Because Miriam, when there is war, when there are problems, it is children and women mostly who suffer. Okay. And on Central Africa, my point is, yes, the government lacks legitimacy, but there are powers that are behind Central African Republic and also who are also causing the mess that we see today because they thrive in the mess. In Iraq, the people that have caused the war in Iraq are benefiting from the mess. In Libya, in Mali, everywhere. When you see these foreign armies and all that coming to restore peace and everything, they organize sham elections or gerrymandered elections, like Dr. David Matsanga would say, and then afterwards, then they'll come and claim the issues that should be resolved as they steal natural resources from or any other country, Miriam.
All right, thank you so much. Daniel, 40% of the electoral districts did not get an opportunity to even see a ballot paper. The polling stations were not open during the voting day on the 27th of December. Surely, you cannot say you're a legitimate president when 40% of the country did not vote. That's a huge number now. Stephen.
Yeah, thank you very much, Miriam, for that question. And we must agree that in Africa, we have a problem in matters election, because we have this kind of intimidations that the government, the regimes of the day, the incumbency, used to remain in power. They intimidate voters, they make sure that you don't see the ballot paper. And by doing that, and in the Central African Republic, we are talking of 40% of voters who didn't even see the ballot paper. That means that a good voice of the voters, their voice was not heard, their voice was suppressed. And by doing so, these people are denied a very basic right to have their leader in possession. Therefore, it is high time, and we need to relook at the issue Dr. David Matsanga keeps asking in this panel. Do we really need an election in Africa? We can have other mechanisms that will ensure we have leaders. We can talk of monarchy, because it seems like in some countries, democracy of the ballot paper, the sacred ballot paper, is not working. We need to have alternative voice where maybe we can have a proportional representation, like we have in South Africa, also a thing that will work for us and in a specific country. Because when you look at the issue in Rwanda, you'll see Rwanda is kind of an election where the incumbency, Paul Kagame, wins elections. But when you look at the development agenda in that country, it's quite in the right track. Therefore, it's time we look whether these leaders were in power, whether they are delivering or not, or whether how we'll do the elections to make sure that we get the right leaders. And on the issue of the armed groups, they need to come up with a disarmament
yes.
policy where these groups will their arms, they will surrender their arms to the government, and all the external factors that influence, because they must have an external factor that influence this kind of violence. They look into and they discern and dissect what is it that is healing their country, so that they avoid going into these scenarios and having a deplorable state. And all said and done, elections in Africa should be looked at to, and it's time that we better our democracy and we can have our own definition of what democracy means. It's not all about going to the election, but we can have a means of having our leaders into these positions.
Okay, very well. Thank you so much, Javen. And speaking about disarmament, I think tomorrow maybe we should have a conversation about what is happening there in Kapedo. Very worrying scenes coming from that triangle there. And maybe tomorrow we should look really what is happening there in Kapedo. All right, so the authorities have accused former President Francois Bozize, who was blocked from running the 27th December election for the escalating violence. Mr. Bozize, who came to power in 2003 before he was overthrown in 2013, has denied the allegations, and at least 200,000 civilians have been directly affected by the fighting since December, and at least half of the number remain displaced from their homes. That is according to a United Nations agency, Children's UNICEF. And at least 12,000 peacekeepers are already on the ground in the Central African Republic. That was before the elections there. And meanwhile, the government is pushing for the lifting of the 2013 UN arms embargo, which it sees as an obstacle in its fight against the rebels. So what is this new rebel coalition? Well, the rebel alliance calls itself the Coalition of the Patriots for Change. This formation is new, but the armed groups within it have been around for many years, with origins stretching back to the insurgencies of the 2000s. Many of them were involved in the civil war that erupted in 2013, albeit in different kinds. And the same year, mainly Muslim rebels groups from the lawless north banded together into the so-called Seleka coalition and ousted then by President Francois Bozize. So I think what from the attitude you see from Francois Bozize there, he feels as if the Central African Republic sort of owes him. And I think until he's, because he came to power through a coup and then he was removed through a coup. So I think he feels like he hasn't finished business there in the Central African Republic, Doctor. I don't know what you make of all this in Central African Republic.
First of all, in a nutshell, point number one. Whatever is happening in the Central African Republic, I blame the United Nations Security Council. Kenya and His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta. Kenya is a non-rotational member of the United Nations Security Council. The United Nations Security Council knows the people fueling the conflict, knows the countries, knows the names, knows the companies supplying arms, supplying soldiers supplying equipment to the rebels. Is that point clear? Point number 2, if the United Nations Security Council, of which Kenya is a member of the United Nations Security Council, does not see the cow is sick and continues to call upon other countries to send in more troops, does not look for the root cause of the conflict. How will the conflict end? Surely. A permanent member of the United Nations Security Council by name France. I told you on this show 2 years ago that there will be a proxy war in East and Central Africa. Didn't I? Miriam, you were there.
You did.
I've said it, I've written it down with Songa and the other people who have been following Kirimi. You have been following, all of you have been following my writings. Go back and you'll see. I warned of a proxy war. So the blame now does not go. I can't blame the president who was elected because there was no election there. There was no election. I blame the United Nations Security Council, Kenya included. Because Kenya is a member that takes the views of sub-Saharan Africa. Yes.
But Kenya only took over just a few weeks ago at the beginning of the year.
Yes, you put the flag there. But what is the flag being there? Decoration? We must move to name and shame the countries that are supplying weapons to Bozize. Country number 1, if people fear to name, Uganda. You want me to niendelee, siendelee?
Endelea.
Country number 2, Democratic Republic of Congo, through Bemba. Armed group is my friend, and I told him you will have more trouble very soon. He has come back and is working with Museveni. You remember it was Museveni who gave Bemba arms in Congo. You people, younger men, you have forgotten history. I have not forgotten. Look at this head here. The United Nations Security Council should stop calling for more soldiers to take them where? Reprimand these countries. Put sanctions, UN sanctions on countries that are supplying arms to Bozize. Hey. Country number 3, Cameroon. Paul Biya is supplying arms to Bozize. On behalf of who? Let's bring Paul Biya on sanctions. Why are you fearing to name these generals? Long-serving men. Paul Biya is coming to 39 years in power. Apparently, all of them, did you know that? All of them are dictators. The ones supplying arms to Bozize are dictators. Another group, you know, the complex of Central African Republic is the Lord Resistance Army. The faction that did not sign the agreement disappeared, is fighting along with the government. Nyanye, why don't you talk the truth? I cannot, in this century, 20th century, haki alive. 21st century, is it? I am going to speak and die. God will welcome me very well. When I die with the truth, for the truth. So, viewers, President Museveni is everywhere. He's now there. Why are we fearing to name him? His army is there. Ugandan army is going soon to Wakamoto with Rwanda. Kagame, have you seen how these big superpowers play politics? They know very well that Rwanda and Uganda are not seeing eye to eye. So they ask Rwanda to go and protect the government in Bangui. I am a student of international relations up to the last iota. Even if you wake me when I'm going to the grave, I'll write with the leg. Look, they asked Rwanda to go and keep the government in power with Russia. Now, why did they ask Rwanda? Because they wanted this conflict. They have been looking to finish this conflict between Museveni and Kagame. So the two armies, the one of UPDF is gonna meet very soon. You wait, very soon. UPDF and RPF watakongana. Itaanzia huko. If you people don't know the gymnastics, I'm now telling you the gymnastics of the security operations. France has been looking for a way how to touch both. Who seconded? Doesn't France know that Uganda People's Defense Forces is supporting Bozize? Doesn't it know? Then we tell, this problem is everywhere. It's the same problem in Mogadishu. It's the same problem in Tigray. Let me finish the Tigray issue so that we don't come back again to waste time.
In fact, conclude for us, Doctor.
Yes. This is my food. This is my subject. I told you that Tigray, it will not take long before Tigray explodes. Today, as we speak, there is a genocide in Tigray. Nobody is talking. Who is funding Tigray? Who is killing those guys? The killers are known. The killers are known. The funders are known. The equippers are known logistically. Everybody knows. There are hundreds and hundreds of thousands. Look at those. Is that not Ugandan face? You when you I studied morphology. I studied morphology, the study of nose, mouth, eyes, what, smile. That's my study. That's Ugandan. They are there. And now the UN, Kenya should give me to write for them a paper. I'm willing to give them free. I'm the friend of the Kenyan people. I don't know why they are not asking me to give them a paper. I know who is fighting there. Russia has now collected enough diamonds, it wants to pull out. So if Russia pulls out, it leaves the South African contingent with Rwanda. South Africa and Rwanda, they don't see eye to eye. Because Rwanda goes and slaughters some of their people, of the exiles in Cape Town, in Johannesburg. They don't see eye to eye.
True.
So now you are living. You see, UN Security Council, you are fermenting. You are fermenting a frying pan.
Mm-hmm. So it's a wonderful proxy war there being fomented, which might
proxy
be
war.
a full-blown war.
If you leave Rwanda, South Africa, in the Central African Republic and tell Russia to pull out, because Russia has seen the mess that France has created. France is on both sides. Is on both sides thinking if Bozize came back, they would have the state and have a sensible man who can speak French very properly. Bonjour, allez à la maison, oui, frogs. Let's eat together, frogs. So, and at the same time, the French don't want to antagonize President Museveni because of Total Oil, which he has given them a contract to build the rail from Tanga up to Mwanza up to Hoima. Are you with me? That's the subject I enjoy most. Do you know that we have even sold the oil when we don't know where it is? It is a thuggery.
So, Doctor, now, President Faustin, the president of the Central African Republic, is pushing for the lifting of the 2013 UN arms embargo, which it sees as an obstacle in its fight against the rebels. So it wants the arms embargo to be lifted so that it's able to purchase more arms.
Who can lift the arm embargo?
In
You lift the arm embargo and give it to who?
In the middle of a civil
give
war.
To who? Mm-hmm. No, you want the arms to be given to who? Mm. You don't have soldiers. You want to arm the Lord Resistance Army? Mm-hmm. Okay. I prepare. It's okay.
Because they're saying somehow the rebels have more sophisticated weapons compared to the government forces there.
You know what? His Excellency President Museveni has been looking for trouble everywhere. Lakini siku moja atapata hii trouble.
Has he been looking or causing? Mm-hmm.
You lift an armed embargo on Central African Republic. Then who is there? And then give arms to who? There's no army. If 3/4 of the country is occupied by rebels, and you are only controlling a toilet in Bangui, where the president goes to the toilet to remove exhaust pipes, you know? That's it. The whole thing of Central African Republic smells cow dung, smells very bad. And very soon, these countries watalimana huko. Wataanza kulimana. Rwanda and Uganda wataanza. Rwanda and South Africa, they are there. The whole thing, why don't we? Okay. Why did we create countries like Central African Republic with a population of less than 1 million? How many people million? Less than 1 million. Why didn't we just call it a depot, our depot for diamonds? I think we must reinvent Africa. We must reinvent Africa, change Africa. We must bring a new dispensation in Africa, where some of these countries should not exist. Because Central African Republic, when you go to AU, doesn't pay money. When you go to UN, doesn't pay money. But they are the ones who bring us more problems to use the money. So what type of country is this? In Guinea, why don't we just kill them from the map? And say there is no country called the Central African Republic. We just say a depot. There is a depot in Central Africa where France comes to carry the diamonds, 2 Airbuses, airlifting diamonds back to Paris, every day. Ethiopia, finally. There is a proxy war around the region. Somalia, Ethiopia, around Kenya, Tanzania, Burundi, Rwanda, Uganda and Rwanda, the border. Some of us are victims. Miriam, I can't tell you the story now. There is no time. I'm a victim. I've lost property. Someone just, you can't manage it. The border is closed, you can't work. So there's no relationship between Rwanda and Uganda. Rwandese don't come to Uganda. Ugandans don't go to Rwanda. We have been deprived of Rwandese ladies because they can't cross over the border to come across. You give a credit where they are beautiful. Because I'm encouraging, this television also encourages younger men like Daniel and Kirimi and others to be watchful of beauty. Yes. So we have a problem. Now, a proxy war between Ethiopia and in Somalia. What is Ethiopia doing? Where the troops, why is Somalia having troops dying in Tigray? You saw 300 Ethiopians as Somali troops, dead bodies lying in Tigray. Who is sending them? Muniambie? Who? A proxy war. France has come and said, all the oil in the Indian Ocean, we shall defend you against Kenya. I got a report last night. You know, I don't sleep. One good thing you can give a credit to me, Miriam, I don't sleep.
Start sleeping, doctor. Sleep is good.
Yeah, but I don't sleep. I research. Every time you touch, you will find me doing it. I think most of you have seen. I got a very nice report from my contacts in Paris telling me how they have worked out how the case against Kenya is going to be defeated. How they will take ICJ. We are now in the Security Council. I think, you know what I'm going to do, Miriam? I am going to be writing openly. I'm fed up. I'm going to write and ask the United Nations Security Council to postpone the ICJ case between Kenya and Somalia, because the judge who came there now, I removed one snake, another snake has arrived. So I don't have much energy now. Now Kenya itself is on the Security Council. Another bad snake has taken over. So I must be open. I'm gonna this week is gonna be Kitobero. Wesonga knows Kitobero. Katoko. I'm gonna release these documents. I want to fight such that there is no arbitration. No case should be had of ICJ between Somalia and Kenya. Because the moment you make a ruling on this case, a war will erupt in Indian Ocean. Kenya will not keep quiet and allow Somalia to draw that 1 gallon of oil. We want to resolve this problem without any much ado. Those who don't know that I worked hard, look at those pictures flowing. Thank you very much in Nairobi production. I've stood by this country. I have never shied away from any responsibility to defend Kenya. I'm proud. I don't have anything that I get a reward. No, I don't need it. I will defend it, because when there is a peaceful Kenya, there is a peaceful Uganda. My mother will not have a problem. That is why I will defend, and I'm not bothered. You can go to hell. I will find you there in the inferno, and let's separate the wire where the inferno hits most. But for me, my mission is to make sure that there is a peaceful Kenya, a defended Kenya, a united Kenya, with all. Ethiopia is not a good neighbor. Ethiopia is arming rebels, is arming people. It wants to take over Jubaland and send Kenya out of Jubaland. Wacha tuambiane ukweli. Why do we hide these things? Public of Kenya should know these things, so that they don't come on the doorsteps when we don't know. And that here it is. There is no need of kupembelezana kwa hii mambo. Let us name, in summary, as I finish medium, time has gone. I think the panel will agree that I've been an expert on this one. I have summarized it for you that the whole problem of these countries is failure to stand up against one man. And that one man in this region will cause you a catastrophe. Here, as I end, he's training another mercenary. And all of you, Kirimi, Douglas, you all know the mercenary. A man who admires. If you admire Hitler, you wear like a Hitler. You grace the same animals like a Hitler, the same shirts, the same color parties, colors of the party. Have you seen? It is the manifesto. It is just Fanoni fancy theory of violence and the Stockholm syndrome used by the deputy president of the Republic of Kenya to harass Uhuru Kenyatta. I submit. Syndrome is the one killing us. And we cannot keep quiet. And the Kenyans are keeping quiet now. Me, I'm telling you in advance, there is a Stockholm syndrome in UDA. Tanga group is using a Stockholm syndrome, hostage taking, violence, to prepare for 2022. That's why they don't want a BBI. If I'm wrong, whoever will come to put soil on my grave, say hallelujah. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much. And that is where we conclude our show for today. Thank you so much, Dr. David Matsanga from the Political Command Center there. Thank you, Douglas Kirimi from Meru. Thank you, Jevin Karanja. And also thank you, Daniel Wesonga, who today was joining us from Punchline Africa's radio station. In case you don't know, we have an online radio station. You can go there and tune in for the best music from across the continent of Africa. My name is Miriam Mugoto. This has been the Africa Showdown. Dr. Matsanga, shall we be with you tomorrow at 9 a.m. and then I'll join you later in the afternoon. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye for now.
Look here. Bye for now.